Hi, everybody. It's that day of the week again, Wednesday. Just waiting on my sister. Hope all is well. This is on public, right? I think. Did I
Hello.
change it? Did I change it? Is it on public? Okay, good. Jamie's here. I was like,
Uh,
wait, I thought I did.
okay.
Now I'm
I was
freaking
like, wait,
out.
I
Hey,
have to
Jamie.
open it up on my desktop.
I know.
At least we've got one.
Hi,
Oh,
Jamie.
two now.
On
So we're doing
time.
good. You
Yeah,
have
we're
it set up.
good. I did it right. Oh my gosh. I
We're, this is
swear. I'm
like,
this way.
yeah.
I'm OCD because you have to do the same things every time or something bad will happen.
But and when we do the same things, we still hit technical glitches nearly every single time.
Still, yeah,
But today we're
exactly.
good.
Hey, Jamie. I know. So far, so good. Don't jinx it.
Hi, guys.
Don't jinx it.
And
Hey,
well, here we
guys.
are, and you could hear me, and I can't get my comments to show up though. So I won't be seeing those, but I will comment to people after. So don't hesitate to leave comments. We love hearing from you guys, hearing what's going on, what you think of our topics. If you have any topics that you would like us to discuss or that you feel, we also are doing guest speakers, in the weeks that come. And so if you feel like you have something on your heart that you want to talk about, let's chat. That would be awesome too, right?
Yeah, we want to
Right,
talk
Wen?
to you. Right.
That was a bit of a pivot. But anyway, hello. This this is What Do We Know with Wen and Wit, where we hope to bring a little inspiration, education, and information about some hot topics and try and meet somewhere in the middle. Today's topic will be tackling mindset. And I think this is kind of funny. It wasn't in our original discussion, but mindset is everything. If you don't have it harnessed in, it can really manifest in a very, very bad way quickly. My quick story about that is that I was just locked out of my house about 10 minutes ago for about a half an hour. And so I wasn't sure. I was talking with Wendy. I'm like, I think I can make it on time. Like, my husband's coming home, but I'm locked out. It's so hot. My son, it was his nap time. I time it out for this every week, to make sure that Wednesdays are flawless. And then I was locked out until literally I scarfed down lunch, and we didn't prep at all really
Got
for
on
this.
here. Yep.
And here we are. But
As per usual.
I had a second. Yeah, I had a second of thinking, oh my gosh, it's not going to work and everything's going to be bad and I'm going to be frazzled. And I thought, why am I telling myself these things? Why not? How topical, how timely that I am being posed with this problem as we're discussing mindset 10 minutes, before I was locked out of my house. And now I'm like, I can do it. It's going to be good. So our topic today is mindset. Wendy is really knowledgeable in this arena, and she's helped me out a lot with harnessing my mindset. I'm still in this quest for mindset tackling. So we're going to kind of meet in the middle and discuss some of the things we've learned, our tips, tricks, everything like that. So why don't you go ahead? Oh, I guess I could introduce myself real quick. I'm Whitney.
I was like,
I'm the
who
wit
are
part
you?
of the equation. You don't know me? I'm Wendy's sister. I'm a mom to my son, Dylan. We have another baby on the way, due on Christmas Day. I am mom to my fur baby, a small business owner, and I live in Northern California. What about you?
And I am Wendy, and I'm a wife and a mom. I have 3 babes, kiddos. They're not babes anymore, which is so sad. I have a million
Neither is
animals.
mine.
I live on a farm in Middle Tennessee. I also own a business and am a blogger. So I'm going to shamelessly plug again here. Gainingmyperspective.com is my blog. Subscribe to my newsletter. You can also link to our YouTube channel from that website to see any videos that you've missed in the past. This is our 18th episode, so we've talked about some things.
Nutso.
I know, crazy. So, in our audience participation question to jump in here, you guys, is what comes to mind, pun intended, what comes to mind
I see what you
when
did.
you hear the word mindset? What does that mean to you? Because gosh, hey Wilma, before I was in business, I never really thought about my mindset. I was definitely a hello cousin. Ashley says, Brian says, hello cousins, hello cousins.
Yay! Hello.
Before I was in business, I was a just kind of blown by the wind, wherever the wind would take me. And Jim Rohn, who I think I've mentioned him before on these series, Jim Rohn, Rohn, is a motivational speaker, life coachy kind of guy. And he said something very early on in my business journey, which is, I'm 10 years into my business journey now. And it struck me so much that he says, the same wind blows on us all. It's the set of the sail that determines our direction, right? So we all have crap to deal with is basically another way of saying that. We all have kids and schedules and complications and people dying and people getting hurt and people getting sick and job changes and life changes. We all have that. You're not special. Sorry to say it that way. It's the set of your sail that determines your direction, right? The set of the sail is your mindset. And I love that. I just have always remembered that. And I've really adamantly worked on my mindset. And I feel like I'm a teacher or a coach as well as being a student of mindset. I mean, gosh, I feel like, what we want to talk today about is why it's so critical. Mindset is so critical in everything we do, and how can we start to master it, right? How can we start to grab a hold and change the set of the sails, so to speak, so that we know which direction we're headed? Because like I said, before I ever thought of mindset, I was just, the wind would just blow on me, and I would just, now I'm going this way. I'm going this way. And that's kind of a victim mentality. And I was certainly in that place for sure. So, like think about being on a sailboat in a storm. You would just be like blown all over the place. You've got to grab a hold of the ropes and you've got to manhandle that sail to use the wind to your favor, right? So I love that analogy. So, so what are we going to tackle here first? Why did we want to talk about this? Maybe, we were talking about why is mindset important?
Well, it's everything because you can't control. You can't control your circumstances, right? I mean, to a certain extent, things just happen that are out of your control. Some of them unpleasant that you would much rather have to go through. But you are always in control of how you handle them, right? So a well-trained mind in that a mind that is cognizant of what's going on and how can I best handle this? How can I pivot from this situation? If you control of that, then you're light years ahead of most people, and you can control and harness in your response. Like you can what's the word I'm looking for? Like it lessen the blow of the bad things that happen and champion the good things that happen, because you can understand, okay, how I respond to this is how the outcome is going to be, is how I respond to it, right?
Sure.
So totally. I totally agree with what you were saying about reacting versus responding. Like you can be reactive, and oftentimes that's harnessed in emotion. That's something that isn't really authentically maybe how you would want to respond, but it's your knee-jerk reaction. It's an intuition and instinct we all have to, like, something bad happens, oh crap, that spiraled my whole day out of control. But instead, you can look at that and say, okay, not ideal, but here's the step I'm going to take. Here's the first step I'm going to take to change this situation or to make it more ideal, So it can determine your success in a lot of ways, and I know you can speak to that specifically with just the success that you've had.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's so...
You can speak more if you want.
Mindset. I will speak to that directly. Mindset is just, it's at the core, right? Mariah says this is a huge problem for her, right? This is a huge problem for everyone. And I don't want you to think that it's not a huge problem for me. It is a huge problem for me. I just feel like I've gained more tools maybe to put into action. Because the difference between reacting and responding is taking a moment to pull a tool out of your box and apply it, right? And so I'm not perfect at this. I'm still totally someone who reacts. You know, we're all emotional. We all have, you know, like you said, the knee-jerk reactions. But your mindset will determine your success almost, I mean, I don't want to say entirely because there's some other things, but like your success is made and broken in your mind before any skills are ever in play. Because you can, if you have skills, that's great. That's going to help your success, but you can also learn skills if you don't have them. But if you have the skills and you have a bad mindset, I mean, have you ever seen the movie Rudy? Do you know that football movie?
It's a great movie.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, it's such a good movie. And the reason why it's such a good movie is this kid is like, you cannot tell him he can't do it. He just wouldn't believe you. His mindset is 100% on lockdown. And that is why he is successful. It's not because he's the biggest and the strongest. That's the opposite, right? It's not because he has the most skills. It's because he is locked in so much up here that his actions are all about perseverance, determination, you know, staying the course, refusing to quit. But that starts up here. It's all in your mind. If he were to get discouraged, the story would have gone different. And it's not to say that he didn't get discouraged. He didn't let that affect his mindset, right? That's the difference. So your success is determined in your mindset. Your parenting, the children that you're raising are absolutely affected by your mindset. The relationship, the marriage that you're in, the friendships that you're in are affected by your mindset. Are you a reactionary friend, or are you a friend that's going to give a response, right? Are you going to be hurt all the time by the things that your friends are saying? Or are you going to flip the switch, give the benefit of the doubt, etc.? It will change and affect your mood and emotions. Your mindset will, right? I mean, like you said, waiting for the key to get into your house, like you're going through an emotional roller coaster and it's all up here. Like, it's just what your thoughts are telling you. And it comes down to what I think is listening to yourself and talking to yourself. That's kind of the two split offs of mindset. Is your mind's going to give you plenty to listen to, right? But are you someone who is going to talk to yourself as opposed to just listen to the autopilot, right? Like in the book, Dare to Dream, Work to Win, he talks about, Tom Barrett, I believe, talks about changing the cassette tape. Take out that tape. Stop listening to that tape. Switch the tape, right? Start giving yourself a new autopilot of thoughts to listen to. So when you were talking about when you've harnessed your mindset, you want to share a little bit about that?
Yeah. Well, it's just piggybacking on that. You have to rewire your brain. And this is why it's something that's ongoing with mindset. Before I share my personal situation here, but our default setting, there's like a neurological predisposition that we are in a self-preservation mode at all times, right? So if anytime we're vulnerable, we're doing something scary, something negative happens to us, our response is run away from that, like let that win, because we can't overcome that. And so you have to take that tape out, like Wendy was saying, and rewire yourself to say, no, actually I can handle this, and I can find positivity in this, and I can power through this that seems like 1,000-foot cement wall, right? Like it's crazy how much it can seem impenetrable. And I was just telling Wendy the other day, like, I struggle with this. Knowing mindset is the problem isn't even enough, because I know that there are times where my mindset is weak, and it's still, I need to find the tools. I need to find a way, an outlet, an avenue for me to move forward and move past that. because I know personally when I have it harnessed, when I feel confident and strong and empowered by like my thoughts, by what I'm telling myself, I am more productive. I'm more willing to like seize the day and go after it. I make better decisions. You know, it even boils down to like, I'll eat better because I know I'm so clear in my mind that I know that it's better for me to eat this, you know, a smoothie than to have a donut. Like it's so weird. It's transformative across the board when you're honed in on your mindset. And just the opposite happens when you aren't honed in. God, it seems like everything is haphazard in your life, right? And there's no direction and it's total chaos. And that's why it's so frustrating to like get it back to good, because everything it seems on fire. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I mean, do you remember
on
the
that
cartoons?
on that same,
Go ahead.
which ones?
Oh,
I was just going to say on that same token, like what?
There's a delay.
Go ahead. You go.
The cartoons of the angel and the devil on your shoulder. That's our mindset, right?
Yes.
Like, and the devil is very outspoken and loud. The angel is respectful and quiet and wise. But the devil's yelling. The devil's trying to distract you all the time, trying to make you think negative, and that one's the loudest, right? So that's real life, man. Anyway, I just wanted to paint that visual for you. But go on.
Well, so what causes us to get out of whack? Like what do you think happens that we are on this path of just honed in, feeling good, and then all of a sudden it seems like we're back to where we started? Like, why do you think that happens?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of things in terms of like outside factors that get in the way. You know, work changes, you know, seasons of overwhelm, holidays, parenting, hormones, pregnancy, etc. There's a million things that can affect your mindset in a actual real way that are outside factors that you have to kind of adapt your mindset to these new things. You know, those are definitely things that are going to mess with your head all the time. But then there's foundational stories that we give power to. And that, you know, I was talking with you about this, you know, in terms of like sometimes we get stuck in these, you know, I can't do this, or I'm not going to be successful. I'm not going to be successful. And you say that and you give it enough weight that all of a sudden it becomes foundational for you. And you might have days where you're like, you know what, maybe I can. I'm going to do this today. I'm going to do this. And then one thing happens and you go right back to the foundation of, no, see, I knew I can't do this. Like, I cannot be successful at this. It's a foundational story that you've given weight to. And you have to figure out what that is. You have to get to the root of it. And you have to ask yourself, who told you that? Like, where did you get that? Where did that even come from? And a lot of times, and I don't mean to go all like psychotherapist on you, but like a lot of times it comes from, well, my parent told me that, or that's what my friends used to say about me. They used to tease me about that, or I was voted class clown in school. So like, I don't, you know, no one takes me seriously. Like some of these things that don't seem very like a big deal can oftentimes become foundational accidentally. And then, you know, even Thomas just said to me, my husband just said to me the other day, we were talking about his business and whatnot. And he said, I was voted most likely to change the world. And I'm like, how funny that you remember that somehow registered in your brain as something significant. And because people thought that about you, and that happened to be a positive thing. So that's good. But if people think something about you, or you think people think something about you, that can become foundational for you and you don't even realize it. And then all of a sudden you're building your whole life on this foundation that, well, I'm just funny. And I remember being in, as an actor, being told by my very first college professor in acting, that, I mean, he told me a lot of things, but I gave him a lot of weight. I gave him a lot of weight of influence over me. That was my bad, because he's one person, one human. But he said I would be a scream queen, which is a blonde with big boobs that gets killed early in a horror movie. That's like the result. That's
gotcha.
what my acting
Yeah.
career is going to look like, right? He told me there, it's not likely that I'm going to be successful in this career. Whatever. I gave a lot of weight to what he said. And then I went on to not just take that into my acting career, but into my life and in my personal relationships. I'm not, no one takes me seriously. I'm just a blonde with big boobs. Like, I'm just like okay. And that became part of my personality in college, that I was just like funny and like a little blonde. And, like, do you see what I'm saying? Like, all of a sudden you have to unpack, where did I get this idea that I'm not going to be taken seriously? Oh yeah. It was this somebody said that to me, and I believed it. It doesn't mean it's true. It means you believed it and it got anchored in somehow. It does not mean it's true. So you have to go back, uncover, where did this come from? Where did it start? When did I start thinking like this? And get rid of that. And that's the tricky part. I say it like flippantly, like, just get rid of that, like, just throw that out the window. You've built maybe years of your life on top of that. So it's not easy to just get rid of that. But you have to recognize, every time I think that thought now, I know I've uncovered that foundation, and that foundation is not true. Therefore, this thought is not true. And there's power in that, right? It's just like going to the gym, or think of it as like physical therapy for an injured knee, right? Like, you have an injured thought process, and you have to go to physical therapy for it, and you have to work it out. And every time you think that thought, every time you have that injury come back, you have to go, okay, let's take a minute here. That's not true. That is not a true thought. That is based on a non-true foundation. Okay, what is the truth? The truth is, of course I can. The truth is, people totally will take me seriously if I do. The truth is, I can be whatever I want to be. The truth is, I can redefine myself right this minute, right? The truth is, I could dye my hair and not be a blonde anymore. And what would that mean for my identity, right? Like, that's not who I am. You got to unpack that. You got to erase that. And that's a process. But yeah, that's I think the biggest cause. That's kind of twofold there, because one thing we're going to talk about is what are the causes and how do we get back on track? So that's both, right? Like, that's one of the biggest causes, and that's how we get back on track, is going to be uncovering that foundation, discover, like, who actually am I? And what am I capable of? I guess I get to decide that, right? Because if you look at these, like,
well, it's
go ahead. I've talked too much. Go.
It's just, it's crazy that you brought up a lot of really good points. And that is actually very powerful, what you said, in a lot of ways, in that it is like physical therapy. It's not that you decide and then it's changed. It's something that you have to work like a muscle. You have to get close to those things that are serving you. You have to train your brain to have a light go off when you're heading to the negative route and say, no. Yes. This is that foundational piece, and it's not my truth. And you have to throw it out. And again, I know that. And in my personal experience, I still fall to that foundational level, having known that's not right. That's not correct. And then I'm like, but maybe it is. And then once you let in that tiny sliver of doubt, it opens it up. And you have to go back to physical therapy. And I heard this analogy that I really loved, and it's about being close to the fire. And what that means is, like, once you feel like you've honed in on the thing that is serving you and on the thoughts that are progressing you towards your goals, or, toward a positive life, which is what our goal is. I mean, that should be everyone's underlying goal, is to how to be more positive in your life. It makes life a lot easier. But when you are close to those things we'll talk about, how to get back on track in a second. But like, when you're doing those things, when you're exercising gratitude and anchoring into like personal development and reading and bettering yourself, you feel the warmth of the fire. You want to stay around. You want to grab your chair and make a s'more, right? But when you start to get away from the fire, you go, it's actually kind of cold. I think I'm just going to go to bed. Like, you're not as engaged, right? So it's very important part of mindset to be engaged, to actively be going to that physical therapy. Otherwise it'll fall to the wayside, and it's not a switch, and it's not a specified amount of time.
Totally.
And it's always a work in progress. So I thought that was really important to mention.
Guys, victim, that negative mindset is victim. And victim is easy. I know it feels not easy. It is easy when you feel like I can't change anything, so why do I even try? That allows you permission to not try. That allows you permission to stay exactly where you are. That allows you to be off the hook. So victim mentality is easy. It is hard work to change your mindset to become successful in these things, right? And I'm not just talking about in business. I'm talking about in parenting, in relationships, in friendships, in your life. You guys, this is going to be just paramount to anything, and any aspect of your life is going to be affected by your mindset. But it will always be easier to stay in victim mindset. That's why the devil is yelling so loud. He wants you to stay exactly where you are. He wants you to be on this earth for as long as you're going to be on this earth and accomplish as little as possible. That's his whole goal, is to just keep you little, keep you stationary. And as long as he can get you in your own head to tell you that you can't do it, he's winning, and he doesn't even have to do anything else, right? Like, he just gets to sit back and go, this is hilarious. So how do you do that work? What are some of the things? Whitney just mentioned it. Gratitude, you guys. It's all a perspective shift. That's why I write gaining my perspective. Everything is a perspective shift, because there is a good and a bad to every single situation. And you just have to try to take yourself out of your victim mindset and look at it from another angle. What is positive about this? What can I be grateful for? Gratitude is your biggest tool in your toolbox to recognize, man, thank God I can pick up a book and read, and have the ability to get better at this. Thank God I have a business I can struggle over, that I am an entrepreneur and that I can do this. Thank God I have kids to try to parent better. There's always a perspective shift to be had. And reading, you also mentioned that reading is critical. And you have a Rachel Hollis quote here, or concept, idea.
Yeah. So, we talk about Rachel Hollis a lot. I swear we read other books. But as I've been battling my mindset recently, I picked up a book, because that's one of the things that you need to do. And I started reading the Rachel Hollis Girl Stop Apologizing, the newest book. Yep. And she talks about how, in general, the most influential parts of your mindset are what you think people are saying about you, and what people are actually potentially saying about you. And she digs deeper on those things, and she says, if you think someone is talking about you or thinking about you or saying something about you, that is the most ridiculous waste of time ever, because they probably aren't. It's probably not true. And you're letting it weigh you down and change your out because you think they maybe theoretically thought this thing. Let that go. And that was very plain concept. Let that go. You think they're thinking something. That is the most ridiculous way to hold yourself back. And then the second thing that she says is that the people who are talking about you, maybe someone to your face said, you're going to be class clown forever, or you'll never make it in acting, or what it may be. Why would you give weight to people who are holding you back? She went on to say that, why would that be the thing that is a catalyst for the direction you take in your life? Why not listen to the person? Why not listen to your mom who says you will always succeed and you're beautiful and you're this amazing person full of potential? They know you better than anyone else, right? But instead you go, oh, that's just mom, whatever. And then some random Joe Schmo on the street says, oh, you don't have what it takes. And you listen to them. And so I thought that was really obvious, but also worth mentioning, because dang, do I struggle with will people believe that I am successful? Will people know that I can, do this thing that I'm trying to do? And then I think, nobody's thinking about that. Everybody wants you to succeed. Your friends want you to succeed. Where is this negative hamster wheel coming from?
Be your friend.
Exactly.
Did you?
Exactly. That's another part of it. Yeah.
Jerks. I
Such
mean to cut
jerk.
you
But
off. I
yeah,
just
so
wanted to make sure.
yes, this delay is killing me today, I swear. This is
So
like
bad. So
some
sorry.
next level communication here. But
It's extra.
other tools that you can use is venting to a friend, a specific friend who will challenge you, not a friend who wants to keep you down in that victim mentality. And that is something I've struggled with also, is that a lot of good friends will empathize with you and say, oh man, I can see why you're struggling. Like, yeah, that doesn't seem likely that you'll come out of that. And then you go, see, that's exactly what I thought. Like, you're affirming my fears. So like, I knew it. But if you have a friend who can tell you, hey, can I be real with you for a second? Like, what the heck are you doing? Like, why are you sabotaging your life? And how about instead, here's a step you can take in the right direction. Those friends are worth their weight in gold.
Totally.
Right?
And it's hard to hear that. It is hard to hear that. But be willing. Like, that's part of the physical therapy. It hurts to change. I remember,
Yeah.
I'm sure you've been there, you guys, when you have a friend tell you like, hey, that guy you're dating, not cool. He's not good for you. And you're like, you're a jerk and you're no longer my friend. Right? Like, and then it turns out he's cheating on you. It's like, you want those people in your life that are going to speak truth over you, and you want to be willing to be vulnerable to receive it. That is hard. But yeah, you need, I had a girlfriend who told me every morning I talk to my best friend on the phone, and we just bitch, man. Like, we just talk about what's going wrong in our life. And I'm like, why do you do that? Why do you start every day of your life that way? That sounds like a terrible idea. Like, I'm sure that makes every one of your days start really negatively. And you guys are not good friends to each other if that's what you're doing. Like, that's really terrible. But you're right. It's good. It feels good to have someone empathize with you, but that's the devil. That's going to keep you right where you're at. Make you stay right in that victim mentality, So yeah.
And that's another good point. That's another good point about how you can get back on a healthy mental track and a positive mindset is maybe starting your day with some of these things we talked about. Like, do gratitude for 5 minutes. Download a meditation app to center your thoughts and your mind, and be hyper aware in your meditation. For like, sure. This is, I'm not going to feel this way. I'm going to be in control of X, Y, and Z because those are the things that have been plaguing me. And then you go into your day, not with I just bitched about everything that's wrong, but with a gratuitous heart and a heart sure. that's ready to perceive the positive parts of your day, right? That could be a huge shift.
Affirmations are a big one too, of just writing down what actually I have in my daughter's bathroom, framed. It says, actually, I can. Whatever it is that you think you can't do, actually, you can, right? I want her to see that every day, all the time. Not her, my kids, my boys as well. They need it as much as she does. But I don't want to ever instill, you're not able to. You can choose not to. That's one thing. But you are able. You are capable. That's something you need to instill in your brain. So even if you wrote, actually, I can, 3 times every morning, actually, I can. And then just that, maybe that's the thing, the one thought that interrupts that negative thought that's coming through your brain. Whoa, actually, I can. You can't do this. You're not going to be, actually, I can, and then just take action on that. That's the Mel Robbins theory of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, the 5-second rule. If you can disrupt, that's an excellent book for mindset correction, you guys.
Totally.
The 5-second rule. Interrupt that default. Whitney mentioned it becomes a default. It's an audio tape. It's from the foundation. It plays every time. You'll recognize the familiarity of, this is not the first time I've thought this thought, It plays on autopilot. So you have to, whoa, disrupt that. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, no, right? Like, do something else. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, pick up the phone and take action. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, actually, I can. What can I do? What action can I take right now? before you can talk yourself out of it, because action is going to improve your confidence too. It's going to dilute, you know, like if you're afraid of rejection, let's say, the more rejection you get, the more diluted it becomes, and the more you're less afraid of it, right? Like the more you're less afraid of it. But you get what I'm saying.
The less you're afraid of it.
There you go. That's what I'm getting at. But yeah, this is another
getting a little wordy.
We could go around and around. I'm very passionate about it. You know, mindset, man, like it'll make or break you. So I encourage you all to do the work that it takes to be your biggest champion, because you're right. The world's going to constantly tell you that you can't, that you're not enough, that you're not good enough, that you never will, that it's too late, that you're too old, that you're too young, whatever. There's plenty of that messaging out there. You have to be the messaging of affirmation for yourself. It is your responsibility. And that's a Mel Robbins quote too. You know, I'm going to I can't even think of it, but the one I've shared before on here that some of you need to hear this. No one is coming. It's up to you. Have you heard that quote? No one is coming. It's up to you. No one's coming to rescue you. You have to do it. You have to do the work, right? So yeah, that's what we've got for you. We've got a fun episode coming next week. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, but first I was just going to say, I hope you guys all found value in what Wendy shared today, because I know we both talked of concepts, but you know, Wendy speaks in front of hundreds, if not thousands of people about this very topic, and then individually to people, probably every day. Every day. She knows a lot, and the way that she talks about it is very true to life. I mean, this is something that, whether you're in business or not, can drastically affect all facets of your life. So take it seriously. I hope you took some notes. I hope you realized that life's talking about, and that was really important for me to hear too. So next week we are going to be talking about intimacy. So who doesn't want to be a fly on the wall for a talk about intimacy, right? Just a lot of the different facets that go into intimacy, and well,
there's going to be sex talk.
There's going to be sex talk, but also intimacy without sex. Don't bring your kids on this one.
Yep. Nope.
So we'll see you guys next Wednesday, when we hopefully won't have this big of a delay. It's impossible to talk to each other. So thanks you guys for coming on, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.